Hi everyone, this is Diane. Thanks for coming back to my channel today. I hope it's not going to be too dark on this video. It is a gloomy day and it is getting to be into the late afternoon here, but this was my first opportunity to do a video for some various reasons. So what I want to do in this video is to start by showing you how I made this cover. Now, I did talk a little bit about how I was going to do it in the previous video. I took chipboard that I cut to the sizes I wanted, and I cut tapestry fabric that would I would be able to fold over, so about an inch around, and it's maybe wider than you would have to do on a thinner fabric, but the thicker fabric is hard to wrap it over and then make it stay if it's much narrower than that. So that's what I did. I glued my pieces down, my 3 chipboard pieces, with a tiny gap in between so that it can close. And then I folded it over and glued it down. That's what I did. And then I added some fabric to the inside, and then I added some book corners. So let's do that before we move any further. I've already got my fabric piece cut. These are some really nice fabrics from, oh, I forgot the name of the fabric company, but the designs are by Kathy Holden. It's one of her collections. I think it's the leather and lace collection. I got some fat quarters of that collection a while ago. I kind of hoard them when I get them. So that is the right size. I tore it, so the edges aren't straight and smooth. They are a little bit frayed because I tore it, but that's what I wanted. So I'm just going to glue it down. It's been a tough week for being in here. I've had so much going on, and yesterday I was at the hospital all day with my dad. He had cataract surgery, and of course he can't drive coming home from there, so I took him there at 8:30 in the morning, and can't remember what time I took him home. Thankfully, we both live in the same area as the hospital, because I had to take him back at 1:30 for the follow-up, which I thought was very, very strange. Why have the follow-up on the same day? But the doctor did all the surgeries, the cataract surgeries, in the morning, and then all the follow-ups in the afternoon. So when I was there with him in the afternoon, I saw all the same people. It was a different waiting room, a different part. It was in the clinic instead of the hospital, but they're all part of one building. It's a big, big hospital building here. So I was pretty much out all day with him, which I'm glad I can do. I've been taking him to lots of appointments in the last year, and I don't mind it at all. He took care of me for a lot of years. So then last night, I plugged my phone in. I'm using Fabri-Tac glue, by the way, in that Sugar Bell glue bottle. I plugged my phone in like I always do when I go to bed. I have it plugged in by my bed. And then I listen to a few chapters of scripture while it's plugged in, and then I just turn it off and hopefully go to sleep. But I couldn't sleep. So I got up and I did some stuff in here. All right, so there's that, nicely covered. And I'm going to add the corners on. So these are just the metal corners that I get from Amazon. And I like to put on some glossy accents to make sure they stay in place. It's just extra insurance. And I already unclogged the glue before I started the video. So I just put a little glue on the bottom part. And see, this corner is fraying, so that's why I want to add the corners. Plus, it makes it look pretty. You're going to have to listen to some pounding, because I flip it over. Some people use a plier or something to crimp it closed, but when I do it, I may have the wrong technique, but I leave a mark in the metal, so I just pound it a little bit to hold or to press those edges down. And we have a nice neat corner. So I came in here in the, after midnight, did some work, and then I went back to bed and I picked up my phone I was going to check the weather or something, and it was completely black. And I couldn't get it to charge. I couldn't get it to turn on. I couldn't do anything with it. It was just black. It was done. And it's not an old phone. It's pretty new. So I didn't know what to do. And what really bothered me was that my dad had been having some discomfort in his eye before we all went to bed last night. My mom called and asked if I would be available to take him back to the clinic in the morning if he was still having trouble. I offered to take him to the ER, but he wouldn't do that because it costs $300 just to go before they do anything. And so I was worried about them calling me in the middle of the night and my phone not working, or first thing in the morning. But anyway, turned out that his eye was better. It was better before he went to bed. It was improving, and it was better this morning. So he wasn't going to go to the hospital. So it was just kind of a weird morning. I didn't know what I was going to do with myself this morning. I had planned on spending the whole day in here. But then this morning I didn't know, am I going to take him to the hospital or what am I going to do? And I had to wait a little while because they don't get up early. And I had my son, who lives just a few blocks away from them, call. I could message my kids on Facebook Messenger with my laptop. So I told him I didn't have a phone and explained to my son about the situation with my dad and asked if he would call at 9 o'clock. And there was no answer at 9. So at 10, I asked him to try again. And this time he spoke to his grandma, and she said that Dad's eye was fine, was doing better, and he wasn't going to go, but they had a prescription for eye drops to be picked up at CVS whenever I had a chance. So I did that later because they didn't need it right away. And I had some other errands to run, like taking my phone to the AT&T store. I could have it like that, or I could have it like that. We're going to go with that. All right, so all I did today in this video was to glue this one piece of fabric down and then add 4 corners. Now, I worked on this piece in a different video. This is from an antique photo album, and this is a digital from Kelly's Crafts, and the digital kit is called Musician's Parlor. I linked it in yesterday's video, and if I don't link it in this video, you can go back to that video and find it. But it's Kelly's Crafts, Musician's Parlor. So you can see I have this one all glued down. I added a little metal piece here that's not vintage. But in looking at this, I think that it would have looked better with a darker border around it, which I'm not going to do now. I'm not going to take that off, but I'm going to add it to this one. So I took my phone to the AT&T store, so I couldn't do videos or anything like that this morning because my phone didn't work. I took it to the AT&T store and he did a trick with it that made it turn on, and then it shut right off again, which puzzled him, and then he did it again. I think it was like hold down the volume, increase volume button, and then let go of that and hold down the lower volume, decrease the volume, and then maybe go back to the increase volume. But it was, you know, pressing down on certain buttons in a certain order. And it made the phone come back up. He put it on a wireless charger, and it showed that it was charged 40%, which is more than when I first went to bed. So it had done some charging during the night, or before it went black. And he said the battery was in good health. It wasn't a sick battery, so he said it must have been a fluke. Well, of course. So anyway, I'm very glad to have my phone back, and now I can make a video. My dad didn't have to go to the hospital. There we go. I think this one looks a little wider. Oh, now there's no margin there. So I think this is cut crooked, the frame, the white frame. So I'm going to have to make another black mat for it. So I'll have to go out and get another piece of black cardstock. That's not black. I didn't turn the light on. I just grabbed something. But maybe I would like that plum color or eggplant color, because it matches that color. Yeah, let's do that instead. That was serendipitous. Perhaps the good thing about videos like this is you get to see some of the difficulties and how to fix them. Journals don't just become magically beautiful. I am using vintage things in this journal, but nothing really junky. So I would call this a handmade journal rather than a junk journal. Because it is, I'm going for an elegant look. And we're going to call that good. I'm going to try to squirt a little glue in there. It's got 2 layers to the frame. So this glue is going, hopefully I'm squeezing some out, it's going between the 2 layers of the frame to make it one. That looks better. Looked like it wanted to pop open. Now, let's see how it looks here. Yeah, I like the purple, deep, deep purple. I'm gonna leave the book closed like this so that I can line it up on, you know, to both edges, and then I'll open it out so I can press it down better. If I just had the book laying flat, it would be hard to see where this edge is. I'm pretty excited about these covers because I love the tapestry fabric, and I'm so happy to be able to actually use some in a project. I've used it before, but I don't use it that often. And right now, I'm of the mindset of let's use a lot of the stuff that I have. And of course, flea market season is just starting, and I went to an antique store today while I was running my errands. I took a little time to have a little fun shopping, and I found some really awesome books and sewing patterns, which you probably already saw if I put that video up before this one. But I'm being more cautious about what I buy, and so I don't build my stash up too much again. There we go. There's the cover. While I was here in the middle of the night, I was sewing fabrics and gluing ribbons. This is velvet ribbon to some of the pages, and I did this page during the night. So I got some of that stuff done. And I think I've been working on this one more. I'm kind of going back and forth, at least at this point. And there usually comes a point when I just want to figure out what I'm doing for the rest of the book and finish decorating one book, and then I'll do those things in the second book. But so far, I'm keeping pretty even. So I glued on a pocket from the vintage magazine ephemera, and I did a little bit of stenciling on this because there was quite a bit of blank space, and I thought a little stenciling would be nice. It's very subtle. And then I added this. I haven't done anything to it to finish it off, but that's there for now. And I think it was this page. For some reason, that is like that, and if you turned it over, this image here was upside down. And this one is sideways, which I can deal with, but I can't deal with upside down. So I covered this with, it's a back of a music magazine, I believe, a vintage magazine. And this came out of a music book. Beautiful image. And this is an advertisement from a vintage magazine, and I just put it on cardstock and added some lace and tucked it in there. So because I had to do this to correct the upside down image, I also did that, a similar thing in the other book. On this page, I'm going to add some flowers. Just some digital flowers. I have some pieces here, and they can be tuck spots if I want them to be. I'm trying to keep all of my embellishments quite simple, using a lot of images from the vintage books and the antique magazines. I want to really highlight them because they're special. They're not things you can buy in a scrapbook store or from an Etsy shop, a digital shop. Nothing wrong with them, because I buy those things and use those things, but I just want to take advantage of my special music ephemera. This is something I cut with a die, and this is a digital flower, and that would make a really pretty tuck spot. I did go through all of my pages and book pages and magazine pages trying to find some special images to make tuck spots with. I wanted something that wouldn't be just square or rectangular, had a shape to it. So I'll quickly go through and show you what I found, because I did do one in each signature in both books. And then I'll tuck a little music flashcard in here. It's from a game, some musical game. And this would add a little more color to the page. And then on this page, I have these images selected, and I won't do it right now, but I'm going to make just some pockets. I'll put them on maybe a gold cardstock, because there are gold flecks on this paper. So I'll have a mat of gold paper around these, and then there'll be pockets on that. But let me show you the pockets that I've done. So there's this one that had, I already showed you this with the stenciling, but it has this shape at the top, and then of course the oval bottom. And on this page I did this. Is she the same image that was on that other piece? I'll have to look, make sure that it's not in the same book. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I like to distribute the images between the two. Oh, yep, there it is right there. It's in the same signature even. So I'll switch this page with the same scrapbook page in the other book. Let's find it. It should be right in this signature. Yeah, I did the shaped page on the back side of that. This is from a vintage magazine, or it was in the back of a book, kind of like a yearbook, but it was a city or township book about the history of Elmira, New York, and it was had some sponsors, advertisements in the back. And this part here wasn't music, but rather than cut it off, I added some ledger to give you some journaling space. And I just like the way that looks tucked behind her. Oh, this is on the back side too. Good. That's what I wanted. I like the way that vintage ad looks with her. Okay, so on this page we have this, the insides of a grand piano. And this is a vintage ad. This is from the Stamperia paper. This piece is not Stamperia paper. I added one extra scrapbook paper because I don't want to cover the image on the Stamperia paper, and I wanted to add some pockets. So, and then I'll find some more small advertisements to make little pockets on that page. And I'll do a tuck spot on, 2 tuck spots on one of these pages And there's one in each signature with the flowers. That's how I want to decorate those pages. This one has the Mozart family. I liked the blue against this. I didn't want, a lot of the stuff I'm using is black and white, but because of this pale background, it had to have some color. And then I added this tag. This is the keyboard. The cardboard piece is spread out over the keyboard on top, you know, like where you'd put your music. And or maybe below that, but it helps you learn how to find the notes. And I added this little advertisement and a little bit of lace. This has a organza ruffle with a gold colored velvet ribbon. That's all that's in there so far. These pages are so pretty. This one it's an advertisement for saxophone lessons, I believe. Maybe the saxophone and saxophone lessons. So she's playing the piano and he's playing the sax, and they're all really just enjoying it. So this magazine is from the 1920s. And I added this flash card in there. This is the other book. So this is, did I have a tag to go in there? I put that on as a pocket rather than a tuck spot, and it does have a little bit of shaping there, but the main shaped pockets I wanted were to be on the extra scrapbook paper like this one. You already saw that one. I did a flower on that one. And a flower and some Tim Holtz paper doll girls on that one. Oh, this came from a replica Sears catalog. So I cut that out. It was longer, but I cut off part of it. Put it on some rose gold cardstock. It feels like it was rather new glue, but I did it last night. That's weird. It should be all dried out. I'm glad it's not, because I made a mess with it, apparently. That's what you get for crafting in the middle of the night. Yeah, I did one here. This was, I think, a magazine page, and it had some water damage. It's stained, and it's got a little tear there, but I love it. I just cut out this side of her and left this part square so it could be a nice tuck spot. And there's that German scrap piece that I wanted to make sure I used. And I think that's it. So let's go back to this and do the flower tuck spots. That one's done. This one is fragile. I would have to support that. Maybe I could just glue all of this down, and then this part would be the tuck spot. I'll glue it beyond, like right here, so we're not putting any strain on that part that's bent and wants to break. just, oh, darn it. I'm just gonna see where I need to put more glue on this. Just over here, I guess. This is probably too big, but I'm just showing you. I have something cut that'll fit in there, I think. Yep. So something like that, but with a little more color because of, I don't want to put music background on music background. It's very windy out today. Definitely have to let that dry, and then this might not fit. I might be sliding it right through the glue. Okay, but I think that's what's going to go in there. I'll look for some more larger size flowers. Some of these are out of books, and some are digitals, and some are Tim Holtz ephemera or other ephemera die cuts. I think this is one of the Tim Holtz black and white ephemera pieces that he had, and I colored it with, I think maybe Tim Holtz crayon. Feels a little bit waxy, and I wet it. But I don't think I want to use that. I want something that's a little, not quite so solid. Something like this. Maybe that. I think that was printed with, when I was missing an ink cartridge. I don't think it's supposed to be that purple. I don't really care for it. There, I got rid of it. Maybe that. I might be getting a little too big here. This is kind of solid, but I'm going to see. This came out of a book. Okay, I think I have enough to play with anyway. Whoops. Crash and boom. All right. I think that would be pretty. It's supposed to be this way. I could do that. Make it the upper tuck. didn't spend too much time looking for stuff. I basically wanted to show you how I put the cover together, and figured I would do some of this easy stuff with the leftover time. I'm not even gluing these to heavier cardstock because I use a nice heavy copy paper. I don't know what the weight is, but it's nice quality. It's what I make my journal pages with. Something small. It's not like I have to tuck something in right now, but you know, I always want to know what's going to go here. There's a trombone. It looks like they're going to stay. I hope it's not just because they're stuck in the glue. Wonder if you can hear that wind. For this one, all I did was put glue here and here. I hope it works. These cards are conductor cards for whatever this game was, and I believe these cards came with the same game. I think they all came in the same game. But I have no idea what it was. This one's kind of big, so I'll save this for a different page. I'll put a smaller one here. I'm going to tilt that a little bit so it can be a tuck spot. And I'll put glue up here and down here. And I will find things to tuck in those pockets later. that's everything for this journal. This Adagio card won't fit in there now. I wanted this glued down so I don't put pressure on it. Okay, so this one has all the flower tuck spots on it, and we've got just a few more minutes. This is a different book, so I can use the same. I'll cut this yellow piece off. Maybe I like it better this way. Then I can glue that. I think I'll cut this off because it wants to come off anyway. I like doing shaped tuck spots. I do them quite a lot with children's book images and magazine images and fussy cuts. Or yeah, fussy cut from digital. That one, I have one done. Oh, I've got two done. I did one on the inside. So I just have two more to go. I can use the smaller vintage advertisements and images from the books and magazines to use in these tuck spots too. One more and we're done. It's a nice way to use up some of these floral fussy cuts that I've had in my binder for a long time. I worked hard cutting all of these things out. Okay, that will do it for this video. I'm going to clean up my mess. And I'll be back to see what's next with these music journals. I hope you're enjoying these, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.